I have every single generation of Apple Watch that ever existed, all to compare its battery life to the latest generation Apple Watch. The Apple Watch Ultra 2nd generation, as well as the Series 9. These two Apple Watches will be going against every previous generation. To perform this test, I've created and rigged this little screen clicker that helps and prevents the screen from going into sleep mode, because there is no settings on the Apple Watch that allows the display to constantly stay on. So with this on-screen clicker, this allows us to actually see how the latest generation Apple Watch performs against older models. So if you're shopping around or curious to know how well your current Apple Watch performs against the latest generation Apple Watches, as well as visually see how it performs against older models, this is the right video for you. So the way I set this test up is every Apple Watch is set to their desired max brightness, and to keep it all even with similar animations, they all have the Minnie Mouse watch face, since this was also available on the Series 7000, aka the Series 0. I then place each Apple Watch in Do Not Disturb, as well as disconnect it from Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and the iPhone that's paired to them. So this way, there's no distractions, there's no other sources that could drain its battery quicker, and it's all using internal hardware. So once all these watches are at 100%, this is when I begin the test. Now all these Apple Watch chargers are connected to one surge protector, and by a push of a switch, they're all gonna quickly switch to their internal battery. From here, I then place all the clickers on the Apple Watches properly, secure them, make sure they're on the correct side of the screen and they're actually connecting. Use an external timer like an iPhone to begin this battery drain stress test. Now, with no surprise, the Series 0 was the first one to go for 2 hours and 51 minutes. And real quick, if you notice, all these Apple Watches are indeed the larger screen body style to choose from that generation. So these are all the large screen version of each series Apple Watch. And also, if you see me ever so often hop back into frame, I'm just making sure everything is right and no internal app notifications also pop up, which happen a little bit, but not too often. I make sure to catch that immediately. So everything was going well, and then the next Apple Watch to go, again, it's the Series 1, which lasted 5 hours and 19 minutes, and then soon followed the Series 2 at 5 hours and 51 minutes. The Series 3 made it to 6 hours and 3 minutes, and then soon followed the Series 4, 7 hours and 7 minutes. It actually has been improved from watchOS 9, because last time I made this test, it didn't really last this long. The Series 3 kind of beat it quite a few times. So watchOS 10 improved the battery performance in the Series 4, which, by the way, all these Apple Watches are on their available watchOS. So the Series 4 and newer Apple Watches are indeed on the latest watchOS 10. Then soon was the Series 5, made it to 9 hours and 25 minutes. Then the Series 6 through the Series 8, as well as the SE, both lasted around the same 10-hour mark, which makes sense since all of them have the same CPU, the rebadged S5 chipset. Although the SE 2nd generation made it around the same time as the Series 9 at 14 hours and 13 minutes, which was shocking, since the Series 9 is using the new generation S9 chipset, which is said to be more powerful than the previous generation compared to the S8. And then, here, let me quote this. It also means that the Apple Watch Series 6 and the Apple Watch Series 7, the Watch Series 8 and the Watch Ultra, and the 2nd generation Apple Watch SE all feature the exact same CPU. So seeing the S2 with watchOS for watchOS 10 looks like that Apple gave it a special treatment and fine tweak it so it can actually perform identical or closely to the Series 9, aka the Apple Watch with the S9 chipset. Since, after all, the SE 2nd generation can still be purchased brand new from Apple's website and is not a discontinued Apple Watch. So again, I think the SE2 received special treatment from Apple to make it still very relevant. Interesting. Then lastly, the Ultra 1st generation made it at 18 hours and 6 minutes, which is again the same chip that's found on the SE 2nd generation. But me personally, I noticed that the 1st generation Apple Watch Ultra hasn't really been performing as well as it used to on watchOS 9. Hopefully Apple can actually fix this and make the battery life how it once was, because my Ultra 1st generation used to easily last me 3 days. Now it's barely able to last 1 or 2 days at most. Then the Ultra 2nd generation made it 10 hours more under a single charge, as it was able to go up to 27 hours and 8 minutes. Definitely does show how much more efficient the Ultra 2nd generation is to its low power rating at 72 hours compared to the Ultra 1 that could actually go up to 60 hours. And this also provides proof that the Ultra 2nd generation did indeed receive that 4% battery life bump in overall capacity increase. So I know this information could be a massive selling point if you're just looking for an Apple Watch that can definitely last a lot longer than ever before. The Ultra 2 definitely does take that spot. So with that said, here's the chart, here's the official numbers. Feel free to pause to see and get a general visualization on the Apple Watch's time under a single charge with the display constantly running. Again, I'm personally surprised how the Series 5 through the Series 8, including the SE, were quite similar. But regardless, in the real world, without having the display constantly be on, these Apple Watches can easily last 18 hours, as Apple has been advertising on their website to be able to last all day without a single charge. And if you're curious about the overall battery health on all these Apple Watches, they're all around the 100 to like 90 or 88%. These Apple Watches you see here, I personally only purchased them just to feature them on YouTube channels and videos, which is why my daily driver actually is a Series 7. But occasionally I do switch to the Ultra 2 just for testing purposes. But before we end this video, I decided to do one more test since we had every single Apple Watch laid on the organized and arranged on their charging puck, to do a performance boot up test to see which Apple Watch turns on the quickest. So I turn off every single Apple Watch, and just like the battery life test, I turn off the surge protector, and as soon as I turn them on, all of these Apple Watches will automatically turn back on at the same time. So performing this boot up test, just like the battery life test, the Series 9 was identical to the SE2, proving that the SE2, even though it has a slower processor, it is fine-tuned to perform identically almost compared to the Series 9 Apple Watch as well as the Ultra. And then followed by the S5 rebadge family. The Series 5 through the Series 8 came in around the same time, and then the older Series 4 and older Apple Watches were almost identical. Series 7000 or AK, the Series 0, was in dead last place, but it booted up. Definitely does show how crazy Apple revolutionized their Apple Watches from the very beginning, especially when you look back at it. They're fairly responsive to this very day. I'm surprised the Series 0 is still alive in terms of overall performance, because previously it was really slow. Other than that, there's the overall battery comparison against every single generation Apple Watch that ever existed, so you have a better understanding which device is best for you, as well as a nice performance test at the very end. If you'd like to review some of this stuff, timestamps are in the description down below, as well as links to other accessories and products I'm using in case you're curious. If you wish to watch more, don't forget to subscribe, as well as like this video, and check out this video over here where I go through all my favorite features and some cool tips and tricks you could do on the latest firmware update for tvOS. Thanks so much for watching.